All right, Lauren.
Yes.
When I was thinking about femininity and really exploring this topic and how it ties into fertility and why women should be looking at their femininity, you're the first person that popped in my mind.
Oh, thank you.
Like it because you embody all of that, and I think that your own journey to that is actually quite an inspiration. So why don't we start off by, sharing with the women listening, like how did you get to do what you're doing?
Oh my gosh. So I always say, like, if you would have told me before that I was going to become any sort of like coach or mentor, anything related to like sexuality and sexiness, I would have thought you were high on the most like insane drugs, right? So I grew up Catholic, quite Catholic, mind you, 10 years of Catholic school. So while my parents weren't very like strict Catholics, I was attending Catholic school for 10 years. So we're talking daily religion classes. We're talking daily conditioning around what it means to be a good and moral and righteous girl and woman in the world. And of course, I took a lot of it in. And I am someone who I love learning. I always loved school and I excelled really, really well academically. I excelled in my profession. And of course, growing up in a patriarchy, meaning our culture and society really reveres and honors men and masculine energetic qualities over women and feminine qualities, right? So living in a patriarchy where that is rewarded success and achievement and simultaneously being disconnected from your body as a woman and shutting that part down. Oh, I was like golden, right? I'm like rocking it and achieving and like, but all the while I felt really unfulfilled. It was like, okay, well, I got the degree. Okay, but that didn't do it. That didn't feel how I thought it would feel. Okay, I'm excelling in my career. Okay, that's not it. So I kept pushing, right? That's what we're taught to do. And then when I was 25, my dad died. And I was like, I have no idea how to handle any of this. And I looked around me and I looked at all the women who've experienced loss in their life. And I was like, none of them are thriving or happy. I don't want that. And I remember within like a month or two after he died, I signed myself up for grief counseling and I was sitting there with this woman and I go, I don't know how this is possible, but I only want this loss to make me a better person. Like, I don't know how that's even like all I can do is get myself out of bed in the morning. I'm so broken inside, but I will not let this define my life in a way of limitation or of lack. And then simultaneously, you're 25 and again, it's like, okay, I've done these things, achieved these things, not happy. And I was like, well, time is not guaranteed. Like life is precious. I will no longer do things that make me unhappy. Right? Like what 25, I don't know what came over me at 25 years old to be like, this is the path, but that's what happened. Right. And so mind you, I'd never done any self-development, mindset work, never even heard of it. Somehow I find myself ass in chair in Regena Thomashauer's mastery program, which if your audience may or may not know of Regena, she is an incredible woman, like thought leader in terms of feminism, all of that good stuff. And she wrote the book, Pussy, A Reclamation. Now she read it. Yeah, she wrote this book after I did mastery, right? So that was not the forefront of Regena. She had other books that I read and I was like, oh, cool, pleasure. Like, you'll just tell me I get to eat chocolate cake. Like, basically I can eat my feelings and that's how I can get around even having to like deal with my grief. So there I was, this good little Catholic girl who'd spent her entire life overachieving And sitting there, Regena comes out on stage, and within the first 10 minutes, she's like, so your power as a woman is your connection to your pussy. And I was like, what the heck did I just do? Oh no. And so all of the conditioning inside of me is like, look for the exits, get out of here, right?
Yeah, this is straight up witchcraft.
Yeah, like, no. Oh God, I'm going to hell. Oh, the inner good little Sister Marie Catholic side of me is like, run. And something inside of me was like, maybe you should listen to this. And I'm like, okay. So she goes through the day and I'm like, I've never heard of any of these things. But being the good student and overachiever that I am, I'm like, well, I signed up for the course. So I don't like, okay, we'll just go with it. I was like, where has this information been my entire life? Why was I never told about ancient civilizations that revered the goddess? Why was I never told about hundreds of thousands of years where the female body was seen as the magical portal of life that it is? Why was I never told that pleasure is my birthright and that being like one with my sensuality, my sexual power is personal power? And so I'm learning all of this stuff, simultaneously like navigating my grief in a radical way, in my opinion. And I'm like, I have to teach this stuff. Like, if this content and information can help me from the depths of grief into feeling more confident, more alive, happier than I've ever been in my life, I have got to teach this to other women. Wow. So that was a decade ago at this point. And I've spent the last 10 years eating, breathing, drinking, all of this, right? Like every certification under the sun, still very much an overachiever. Do not worry. I was like, I counted what time. I'm like, wow, 12 certifications, Lauren? Okay, cool. Yeah. Constantly learning and taking information in this because it is such powerful wisdom that has really been left out for most women. And yet what I see is women across the board are yearning for this without being able to truly say what it is. Because when you start to hear it, it like just resonates so deeply as truth. So, and here we are.
Well, I think that you were dropping bombs left and right, but I think what was interesting, like the first part, if I look at what you were sharing chronologically, the part about how loss and grief could make you a better person. I mean, at 25, that is the hand of the divine intervening
100%.
in your brain, because that level of consciousness, to be conscious and not go unconscious into your patterns at that moment. I mean, that is definitely, an amazing gift that your dad gave in his passing, was to give you an awakening.
Yeah, for sure. Because I remember, I was 25, fresh out of like college, in a pretty well-paying career. And I remember being like, wow, I get why people turn to drugs and alcohol. Like, I want to numb this. And I know that is going to be the slipperiest slope for me. And like, I know that that's not what I want. Like, I know that that's just going to be a temporary Band-Aid. And I always say, I don't know what it was, but it was so clear inside of me. And I was like, I can't make any other choice.
Right. Right. And I think you're highlighting something that I think a lot of women, particularly the women that I serve, when they're struggling to conceive, find themselves very disconnected from the feminine. And it's not a question that we typically ask. Like, when you think about the process of deciding to have a baby, like it gets real clinical real fast.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think that the reality is, and I see this with women, obviously, that I work with who want to start getting pregnant. Obviously, that's not my like zone of genius and area of expertise like it is for you. But of course, when you're working with women around the feminine, like a lot of these things come up. And it's like, we live in a culture and a society that tells women to try and control and overpower your body. Do not listen to your intuition. That's craziness. Don't. No, 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 no. Right? The mad or bad woman. Like, if you're your full self, if you're tapped into your wisdom and intuition, that's either wrong or you're crazy. We live in a culture and a society that over sexualizes women and then simultaneously shames us for owning our sexuality.
Yeah, it's a way to keep us destabilized.
100%. And so then when a woman gets to a place of like, okay, I'm ready to bring new life into the world, which quite frankly is the most feminine thing, period. And if you have any women who just like love you and maybe aren't getting pregnant, or even women in my community who are like, I don't want to birth a biological child, like, it is still the most feminine thing to birth new life, whether that's a creative project, a business, a new idea, right? And then, of course, biological life. So then you get to a space and it's like, okay, now I need to do the most feminine thing about me, but I'm so disconnected from my body, from my intuition, from my emotions, from pleasure, from sensuality. Like, it's a recipe for disappointment, right? Because it's like, okay, now I'm going to try and have power over my body to force it to do this thing that it might not be ready to do, in the way that, like, maybe you need to get your hormones in check, or maybe you need to heal something inside of you so you can be an even better mother. Maybe you need to fix something inside of your relationship to create a more, like, a different foundation for this child that's coming into the world. It's, you know, Regena, my first mentor, one of my favorite phrases of hers is, our desires break us and remake us. And I think we're, in our culture and society, we're so quick to see something not happening as meaning something about us, meaning that we're flawed or broken or whatever, versus this is an opportunity and an invitation to become the woman who has that thing.
And that's one of the hardest things, I think, for women to wrap their heads around, especially on this journey, and especially in a culture where everything is so achievement oriented, and not like achievement is bad. Trust me, I'm a recovering type A control freaky. Like, you know, you and I are cut from the same cloth. But what's interesting is I think we get a skewed view of that.
Yeah.
You know, social media has done a lot to, I think, warp people's belief system about how quickly things, quote unquote, should happen. I mean, we're inundated with images of alleged overnight successes, or you know, and so we're not really celebrating the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, much like what you were talking about is becoming this person. You know, I'm always telling women, you know, you become the woman who succeeded before you actually succeed.
Yes.
You have to be in that place where you're open to receive the thing that you want. Yeah. But when you have relationships that are out of alignment, you're disconnected from your body, you also are not connected to your own natural license and agency. Over yourself and your dream. You know, this can go from bad to worse quick.
So quick. I mean, the reality is, I am so beyond grateful for Western medicine, right? Like, we are so lucky to live at a time where the medical and scientific breakthroughs and discoveries are and have been what they are. And Western medicine is so misogynistic and so patriarchal that if you are disconnected from your feminine, from your power, from your like agency and sovereignty, it is so easy to get swept up into that current of then hating your female body and finding it wrong and shaming it and judging it and criticizing it. And let's just be honest, like that is not a welcoming environment for a new life. Like if you're thinking about, okay, I'm ready to bring my child into the world, you want to create the most beautiful and nurturing space. Like that is what nesting is, right? Like you want to make the nursery beautiful. Like what you say to yourself, how you view your body, how you feel about your body is that like first, for lack of a better word, nest for them. But again, it's like I constantly talk about the patriarchy and society and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like people are probably like, okay, get over it. But what I really want to drill down for women is like the majority of what you are experiencing, your fears, your body image issues, your judgment and shame on yourself is not because you are inherently broken or flawed. It is because for 2,500 years, that's the messaging that we've received.
Right. Right. And there was a whole lot of reason for them to do that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Whoever them is, right? Like, you know, I think it changes all the time, but I think you're raising a really important point because it's ultimately, you know, when women begin to explore what femininity is for them, I think one of the smartest places to start is what are my beliefs about it? Because that's a really strong indicator of the kind of programming, because we don't know we're programmed until we become aware.
Totally.
You know, we have no idea. Like, you know, because let me give you one example, and I'm sure you're going to riff like crazy on this, is I actually believed back in the day, before I had done any work, when I was just scratching my head, wondering why I wasn't conceiving my son, you know, I thought the feminine was weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weak and crazy. Right. Because I was a get it done prosecutor. I was so comfortable in my masculine. That's where I lived, just like you.
Yeah. And, you know, there's so many things in that. One, I say often, like for women, most women aren't actually so in their masculine as much as they have control issues. Right. And it's like when we realize that a lot of our quote unquote masculine qualities are control issues because we feel unsafe in our body and in the world as a woman, then we can start to realize, because each person has masculine energy and feminine energy, right? And if, you know, we can call it yin for feminine and yang for masculine. And for a person who is like conscious and evolved, and I don't always love using those terms because I think it just perpetuates hierarchy, but aware, there is a healthy and empowered expression of the masculine and a healthy and empowered expression of the feminine that we are all meant to be expressing all day, every day. I don't see it as like a 50-50. I see it as a dance in between, right?
Right.
For me, and what I believe to be true for most women, is that your natural set point, outside of all the conditioning, your natural set point is the feminine. Essentially, your natural set point is in your power, right? Mm-hmm. Connected to your desires, clear on your emotions and your boundaries, you know, sensual, alive, full of pleasure. And then we shift into the masculine to get the project done, to finish the brief, to, you know, start the company, to whatever. And we move back into the feminine throughout that, right? And it's a dance back and forth. So it's not about, okay, we need to not be in the masculine.
Right.
Right. And I, like you, thought the feminine was weak and needy and dependent and crazy because, one, that is the stories that were fed. Like, look at any fairy tale and 90s rom-com, right? Like, this is what was forming our belief systems.
Right.
And two, every woman, like looking back on my childhood, every adult female around me exhibited these disempowered feminine qualities of being needy, being dependent, being emotionally crazy and unstable. And so it was like, well, I don't want to be that. Doesn't feel good.
Right.
Plus, I'm getting rewarded the more I'm quote unquote achieving. Well, that feels really good. All right, let's keep doing that. And so again, I come back to, like, for most women, you're not so in your masculine as much as you have control issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so you stay in a space of doing, and you stay in a space of producing, because you're terrified if you stop, you have to feel the feelings that are inevitably in your body that you haven't felt, that you have to address the fact that you've so deeply tied your worthiness to productivity.
Oh,
who are you if you stop producing?
Right.
Right. And you're terrified of leaning into the sensual, the pleasure, the wild, the erotic of the feminine, because we've been told for the longest time that that's the most dangerous thing that you could do.
I love the way that you break that down, because I think it's so true. It's like, especially, when I think about the women I serve, tend to be in very masculine, energetic kind of professions.
Yeah.
And we can easily get very disconnected from that, from our feminine, and distrust it and think it's just lipstick and high heels.
Totally.
But that couldn't be far. It's an expression of it for sure, but it's kind of a more superficial expression of it than I think where our real power lies. I would love it if you would share a little bit about, how do we, this is going to sound really basic, but like, how do we even find pleasure when we're so starved of it?
Yeah. So a few things, as you mentioned, like, you have to first you have to begin by examining, what is your belief system around the feminine? What were you told or taught or shown, or what are you afraid of? How do you judge it? And same thing with pleasure, right? I actually just did a Facebook Live called Pleasure as a Healing Modality. Like, we are inundated with no pain, no gain. Pain is beauty, right? Like, suffer to prove that you deserve it. Yeah. Well, no wonder most women are like, pleasure, no thank you. Like, that's not going to get me what I want. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. So you have to look at, what are your beliefs around pleasure and allowing or deserving or having pleasure. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and I make all of my clients do this, no matter how long I've been working with them, no matter at what level they come in, you got to make a pleasure list. You got to make a list of, keep it on your phone, keep it next to your computer. What are the things that bring you pleasure? So for me, when I describe pleasure, it is typically synonymous with sensuality. So sensuality is experiencing life with your senses engaged and present to those senses, right? When we think of things that bring us pleasure, 99% of the time, they are sensual, right? Mm-hmm. They taste good, they smell good, they feel good on our skin or in our bodies emotionally. They sound good, they look good, right? Pleasure or sensuality brings you into your body and into the present moment. You can't be freaked out about what's going to happen next week or next month. You can't be obsessed about what didn't happen last week or last month. You come back into the present moment. So pleasure brings you into your body and into the present moment. So start creating a list. What are the things that bring me pleasure? And it could be from a piece of dark chocolate to a week at an inclusive spa resort, right? Like anything and sign me up, right?
Yeah.
Anything and everything in between. But here's the thing, when you have a list, oh, I really like this specific brand's peppermint tea. Oh, I really enjoy a 20-minute walk. Ooh, this song always makes me feel like juicy and turned on and in my power. You have a whole list. So then you're working away and you're like, pleasure. Fuck, I don't want that. And it's like, that's exactly when you need pleasure the most. But that's why you have the list, because from the you can't think of what's pleasurable.
Right.
So when you're in that space, you get to be like, ooh, let me get a cup of that peppermint tea. Okay, right. And you go and you get the cup of peppermint tea. We often think, and again, I think social media does like a crazy job on this, that like pleasure is 5 hours at the spa, crazy luxurious bubble baths. Pleasure is like all white, immaculate house that looks like nobody even lives there. Pleasure is like these unattainable things that are going to take so much time, effort, money. When in reality, living a pleasurable life, it's about those micro moments. It's about the moment first thing in the morning when you go to have coffee or tea or whatever it is. Are you looking at your phone and like already freaked out about the 15 emails that came in overnight? Or are you completely present to the sensations of that cup of coffee or tea?
Yeah. Wow. I love how you're making this so accessible, because I think when we are clawing our way back to that sensual nature, because I think sensual and sexual get like blurred.
They get mixed up. And again, it's just a way to keep us from our power, because a woman who owns her sensuality typically has a healthier relationship with her sexuality anyway.
Right.
But our sexual essence, expression, power is our personal power.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I think that's extraordinary. I mean, because when you get present, Lauren,
yeah,
and you really like, I do this with food. I am a hardcore foodie. Like I cannot tolerate a shit meal. And so I love to be in the moment. I love, I spend a long time selecting restaurants to go to, because
I love it.
Over time I've learned to value, I want the lighting, I want the experience, I want, this whole thing, so that, we're not just eating on the go, but we are in the moment, in the present, nourishing our bodies, having a beautiful conversation with somebody that we love, or friends, or, any of that stuff. I mean, it is that simple.
Yeah, it is. And again, like, pleasure is healing. It lowers our cortisol, right? Like, it has physiological benefits. And the more we lean into pleasure, undoubtedly, the more in tune with your body you become, right? And again, when you're on the journey of bringing new life into this world, you want to do it from the healthiest, highest vibrational state, physically, mentally, emotionally, and I don't know if you've talked about this, or I feel like we probably talked about this when you were on my podcast, but women in France experience menopause completely differently, because they are not fed the belief system that menopause means you're like dried up, old, life is over. women in France, their story is menopause is the second spring of your life. Like this is where you really come in to yourself as a woman. So
Wow.
they actually experience less physiological menopausal symptoms, right? So when you lean into pleasure, you become so much more connected to your body that you're trusting your body and you're not buying into a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the stories and belief systems that aren't supportive to you having and creating the desire that you want.
Wow. I love that you raised that. I mean, especially about, because you look at the vibrancy, I was just watching a movie the other day. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a French actress in it that was clearly in her, I think it was Natalie Bay.
Okay.
She was, I loved her in the 90s and like, she's just, everything amazeballs. But she exuded this elegance. It was in the new Downton Abbey movies, I think is what it was. And
I haven't seen it yet.
yeah, she just was like, I mean, owning this and just so self-assured and all this, just even the way that they did her makeup, it wasn't overly done.
Yep.
She wasn't hiding her age. She wasn't, she didn't look like a mummy. I mean, it was very, it was really beautiful. But I think that the other thing about that is we scare women about not just menopause, but having babies in their 40s. And it's like, what? You can't have both. You're either going to submit to not having a career and a marriage or a partnership and a baby. Like it's very limiting. But the reality is that, hey, there's never been a better time.
Yeah.
You're never like, you're probably never as wealthy, right? Because you never have more life experience and all this other stuff. I mean, I love that you raised this idea of the second spring, because you're just coming into this really incredible power in your life. So, but why be scared to death about it?
Exactly. And I mean, the reality, so I'm 35. I am not married. I don't have kids. I'm pretty sure I want kids at some point. And I know all of this stuff. Again, I've been in this realm for 10 years and I still find myself going, oh shit, I'm getting old. Oh no. Because it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so it's like, it can feel so overwhelming. And I know if the women listening to this podcast, they listen to you for a reason. So they already know the power and the importance of like the thoughts you're thinking and what you're ingesting mentally and emotionally. And again, I always want to give women the reassurance that what you're experiencing is normal. Like the society and the entire hierarchy set of power was set up to keep us from our power. Right. So all of the fears, all of the like old beliefs and conditioning that you're trying to rewrite, it's not because you, whatever your name is, Susie, is like the one woman who like is so broken and so messed up, right? It's like, no, it's a cultural thing. It's a societal thing. It's a human thing. And if you have a child in your late 30s or 40s or late 40s or whenever you have a child, that is the perfect time for you. Right. Because that's when you're having it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting that you say that, because I think that, when we kind of look across the board, in this kind of mass awakening, I think that's happening around the world, just about how a lot of the things that we've been told about ourselves they're just wrong.
Yeah.
Like we're way more powerful than we think. And, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, totally. It makes more sense. And I think people can really lean back. Women can lean back and say, hey, if this desire is in my heart, it's meant for me. There is going to be an ultimate expression of it. I don't have to live in fear.
Yeah.
I don't have to, be constantly in the past or in the future. I can be in the present, experiencing pleasure. And one more thing that I wanted to dovetail on was, and it just made so much sense to me, because when you were saying you want to conceive from the highest vibration that you possibly can, when I think back to when my husband and I conceived my son Asher, it was a year that we were saying bigger and bolder yeses to us.
Yes.
We had just come back from this amazing European trip, doing all the things. It was all about pleasure. I mean, I was doing everything that the quote unquote experts tell you not to do. I was wearing heels on cobblestone, eating cheese, drinking wine, drinking bread.
I love it.
I was, anything that I wanted, I bought. Like, I was it was a very sensual, as you've described it, experience. And I am not joking, Lauren. I remember the moment when the whisper in my ear was, it's time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It's time. I knew Asher was on, like, I always knew he was coming, but I knew in that moment it was time to receive him.
Yeah.
Like, never forget it. And it's extremely hard to describe. You just know it when it happens. And it doesn't surprise me that he made his way into the physical form at that time, because the vibration that I was in, everything I was experiencing, what my clients were experiencing, it was like the perfect time.
Oh my God, of course. And if you, again, think about your body as like the first home of your child, because it is, right?
Yeah.
And with this mass awakening, I think a lot of people are coming to terms with and really seeing the reality of like their conditioning from childhood or familial or ancestral lineage or whatever. And it's like, okay, I have no doubt that if you want to be a mother, you want to give your child like the best possible life and experience with like the most amazing possibilities. So why not start living as the woman who allows that for herself first? As you become the home for this new life that you're bringing into the world, right? Like, it's time that we kill the martyr mother mentality. Right? And quite frankly, you don't have to have given birth yet to kill that mentality, because if you're like, I have to suffer, I have to be in pain, this has to be like, this is really hard and I have to do it in the most challenging way possible, you are already being like, hi, yes, I'm choosing signing up for mother martyr mentality. Yeah, so put me down as that. Like, we're going to start that right now. So like, choose a different option. And the other thing I want to say to this is, everything I'm talking about, please do not let pleasure and the feminine and becoming the highest vibrational version of yourself as this other challenging thing you have to achieve in order to be worthy or perfect enough. You're perfect already. You're worthy enough right now to become a mother. And like, you are going to be a mother. If the desire is there, it's on your heart for a reason. So if you're going to get to the finish line of becoming a mother, don't you want this time to be the most enjoyable?
Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. And, but I think we exalt suffering. I think suffering.
Oh, yeah.
Learning, right? Like yeah, no, it really like, but I think we also, it's interesting, we're society, like if something comes to you easily, which easily even has sort of a pejorative twinge to it.
Yeah.
But let's just say it comes to you with ease.
Yep.
That it must be less valuable.
Yes. Yeah.
which is crazy.
Oh my God.
Because I think it's a difference between allowing, and us being constantly at odds and shaming and wronging the desire. So, I think that it's, what you've shared here is just incredible and is a really cool eye-opening experience for women to really start to get some hard notions of what this means so that it's tangible, because I think it is intentionally obfuscated and made like this amorphous thing that to be in your feminine, or that it's risky to be in your feminine. I think it's risky not to be able to marshal the masculine and the feminine.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. A few things. One, I want to get a shirt that says like fuck puritanical beliefs, right? Like, I'm like, please. And granted, again, I grew up like Catholic school, Catholic, it's like the more guilt and suffering you do, the better you are, so that belief system will come up regularly for me, but
Always.
I think, it's like, okay, we can begin to let that go. I think the reality is we've been told and taught that being in our feminine and in our bodies, in our feminine power, is the most dangerous thing in the world, right? And so for centuries, it actually was probably safer for women to be disconnected from their bodies, from their sensuality, from their truths, from their voice, right? Like that probably saved a lot of women during the Spanish Inquisition and the witch trials. Okay, sure. I think in 2022, the safest place for a woman is deeply grounded in her feminine power.
Yeah.
And it is actually less safe for us to be disconnected from our bodies and from pleasure. And when I say less safe, I don't necessarily mean like physical harm, but I mean like you're just not enjoying this life that you have.
Yeah. I think it's energetic safety as well, though. Because so much of the toxicity and the fear porn that I think is out there, and this is, and I think it's interesting because when we, what I describe as the mama bear energy, to my ladies is really like, hey, truth when it resonates in your body. Sure. When somebody is telling you the truth because you feel it. It goes back to us being spiritual beings.
For sure.
And it's really important what you just said about now being the safest, one of the safest places to be is in your feminine, because you're in your intuition. You're going to see and feel truth when it's presented to you, and you're going to discern. And discernment is so critical now, Lauren. It's like underline discernment like 10,000 times.
Oh my God.
Having the discernment, I think, is in, I think I love the masculine as much as I love the feminine. They're just different, but I think the masculine tends to be more reactive. The feminine, I think, tends to be more responsive and discerning, in a different way. It's a different kind of discernment.
Totally. So two things onto that. One, going back to what we were saying, how we were both like, oh, the feminine was weak and needy and blah, blah, blah. Because we're also not taught about what I tend to call like the dark goddess archetype, or like the quote unquote dark feminine, the fire, the righteous rage, the like unshakable boundaries, right? Like we're told, even in a lot of quote unquote polarity work, it's like the feminine is soft and surrendered. And it's like, okay, sure. But the feminine is also like bloody and like righteous rage. Like, no, I'm going to take my sword, cut your head off, drink your blood, and wear it as a necklace. Thank you, a la goddess Kali. You know what I mean? It's like we're not taught about the power that the feminine holds to not just create, but to like release things that aren't serving us, to burn down things that are not for us or for the highest good of everyone. And so I think that a lot of the work that I do with women, like we work on nurturing and revering the intuition and emotions and sensuality, but we also go into the rage and the wild and the erotic, because the feminine is all of that.
Right.
All of it.
Right.
And the other thing is, the feminine is the initiator, period, full stop. The entire conversation of like the masculine leads. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. The feminine desire is what leads. It is feminine desire first. Then, yeah, you're right. The masculine reacts and starts taking action towards said desire. And then the feminine supports that with like pleasure and sensuality and fun and wildness and whatever. And I think that when we realize that, like, when I say the term feminine, it really is about a woman being the fullest expression of herself. Yeah. So I don't know if women are going to see the video of this. Like,
they are.
Okay, great. So you can see like sexy black dress, pink lipstick. Like, this is I mean, sometimes I do podcast interviews like in legit lingerie, right? That is what feels so alive and exciting for me. If you were like, Lauren, we're going on a 10-mile hike, I would be like, yeah, I'll see you at the 5-star spa like after. Like, that is not Lauren's highest expression. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
yeah, I get it.
And if you're like, my highest expression is that 10-mile hike and then going to the spa, great. Do you don't have to wear a stitch of makeup. But what I do find is women who start leaning into pleasure, they end up rewriting the relationship with themselves and their own unique beauty to begin to revere it and honor it. And it's like, what would honor me and the beauty that I have? Is it a luxurious face wash? Like, again, no makeup necessary.
Right.
Or is it testing out? Maybe I do want to wear a red lipstick.
Yeah.
Right? Is it, oh, I've never thought I could pull off leopard print. Let me try it out. Or is it, I will live and die in athleisure, but I'm going to get the most luxurious, best feeling kind. And again, like, if you think about your body as the home for this life that you're bringing into the world, how are you treating this home? How are you taking care of this home?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this has been brilliant, Lauren. And yes, I mean, I really we could go on for days on this one, and I just love it. I love it. But, and I really am extremely appreciative of you and the work that you're doing in the world, because you're walking and talking it, you're real living proof of what that can look like, and it's really awesome to be in the sphere of, courageous women that are willing to take their personal experience and turn it into service, a way to serve. So talk to us a little bit. How do women get in contact with you?
Yeah.
How do they work with you? I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and all and watching and listening. Like, thank you so much. So I am the Magnetic Woman in real life and on the internet. So you can find me everywhere at the Magnetic Woman. So on Instagram, on Facebook, I have a free Facebook group. Come over, say hello, let me know that you heard me or saw me on this podcast. And right now I'm so excited because I have opened up a space for a 9-month, because it takes 9 months to live life. This was all intentional, my loves.
Yeah.
It is an initiation into what I call embodied feminine leadership. So being embodied in your feminine and learning to lead from that space in all areas of your life. So I also call it like my goddess world tour, because we have 3 retreats all over the world where we're going to like sacred feminine sites and soaking it all up and in. So the program is called Sovereign. I would love, if that sounds delicious and exciting to you, to come on over to anywhere on social media or my website and connect, read the program, all the things.
That's awesome, Lauren. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be really exciting, you know, for the ladies listening to this, to hear this information in this way. So thank you so much for being with us.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.